Well, it's that time of year again. The end of it. 2019 is officially over, and my god, what a year it's been. For me personally, it's held a lot of high and low points for my life and channel. Regardless though, lots of people I've reviewed have still found my content and responded interestingly one way or another. If you're unaware, last year I uploaded a video titled Review Recap 2018, where I discussed the individual responses to my videos in 2018, which at the time was my entire backlog since the first of my consistent uploads in years were posted in mid-January of that year. Before that I had posted actively, sometimes for months, but the drive to do so would always peter out after a bit, and it didn't help that nothing really went anywhere or got noticed on a wider scale. Not that that's why I did it, but if I got bored too, then what's the point? And certainly no one I talked about actually found my videos, unless you count the people I trash talked at my school, but I don't want to recap those reactions. As most of you know though, that changed on May 2nd, the day after I posted my first channel review. All because a certain someone saw my video and decided to tweet it out.
How did... Oh my god, it hurts!
Likewise, in 2019, a fair amount of people who were talked about responded, and whether or not the reaction was good or bad is exactly what we're here to find out. Last year I did a poll in the community tab called The Punishment Poll, where if I got more bad responses to videos than good ones over the last year, you could all vote on the punishment I'd have to go through, which is exactly what we're going to do again. Check the channel's community tab that I linked below to vote whenever. Though first, let's get through some unfinished business. This video may be a recap of 2019, but for the sake of wrapping up everything, I'd also like to mention a few channels who I forgot to mention last year. But let's start at the very beginning. I already mentioned that my first review in May of 2018 was what gave me my initial wave of popularity, but surprisingly, the first actual response I got to anything that year was a month prior in April when I posted a let's play of a game called In Memory of My Cat, and did so with the one and only ultimate hacker himself, Alex, the guy from the Leafy video if you didn't know. And apparently, despite having less than 10 views for months and less than 100 to this day, the creator of the game found it almost immediately and responded. He said, "Thanks you." And yes, I confirmed after the fact that this actually is the game's creator. That or he was just commenting indiscriminately thanking anyone who played his game, which would explain the typo, so I'm just gonna mark this one down as negative. But believe it or not, this wasn't the only time in my short Let's Player history that a game maker would respond. 4 months later, I got another response on my last public gaming video I'd ever put up on a game called One Hand Clapping. And the fact that this was my last one makes me feel a bit guilty. This is such a genuine response, and even though I know they just want to have their game viewed by more people, I can't help but feel a bit sad that I didn't take them up on that. Even though I'm not a Let's Play channel, it was really a nice offer. So you know what? I decided why not try to take them up on it. In the middle of making this script, I went and wrote an email asking for updates regarding the project, and told them where to reach me like I asked. So I guess for now, we're just gonna have to wait for a response, and depending on what it is, maybe we'll touch back on this in its own video or in Review Recap 2020. For the time being though, I'm gonna mark this one down as a negative reaction. Not because it was one, but because I think I need to punish myself somehow for not answering this sooner. Next up is the Bad Commentary Channels video, another 2018 upload. I mentioned in Review Recap 2018 that I'd only be discussing reactions to channel reviews for the sake of brevity, but now let's get thorough by talking about ones I'd brushed off before. The Bad Commentary Channels video was made to ironically discuss the negative tropes of poorly done commentary channels, and Turkey Tom and Just a Robot were mentioned in the thumbnail, both of which did see it and expressed their feelings to me later on, and they actually liked it. I think the conversations took place solely in voice chat, so I don't have any proof, but good enough. 2 points in my favor. Next is Nerd City and Daftpina. Even though neither had their own dedicated video, I referenced each, one in my Storytime Animation video and one in the Justin Y video. Both responded fairly well, though Daft's response was in the same VC I talked to Tom and Jargon, so likewise I have no proof, but well, maybe we'll just give myself a negative and a positive point for this since I can't really prove any of it. Then there's Quinton. Oh god. You may all remember the Quinton Reviews controversy quite a while back, and even though I was told after the fact that Quinton apparently never watched any of the videos made off of him, Quinton did respond to me in a much different manner. I made a small JonTron edit that I would go on to post on Twitter, making fun of a line from his review.
Saying that every angry gamer is trying to be James Rolfe is like saying that every racist gamer is trying to be JonTron.
You slipped it right in. I can't believe how smart you were for writing that.
Long story short, it got retweeted en masse, with Nerd City being one of the first to do so, which helped open communication between us, leading him to get referenced in the Justin Y video a month later. I don't know whether it was due to the Twitter video or the 2 commentary videos I made joking about Quinton's situation, but he swiftly blocked me, which I also joked about. He would go on to unblock me later though, so make of that what you will. But there's more. You see, for those of you who don't know, I created a short film entry for the second biannual Mumkey Jones film contest that I would later put up as The Real Truth About Mumkey Jones. And in it, I show myself talking in DMs with an account called Not Mumkey Jones, which I made specifically to send myself DMs for this video without bothering the real Mumkey to do it. And while I had this account, I messed around a bit and followed Quinton, since at the time I was still blocked on the main. Now, I don't quite know if I even ever said anything to him, but as you might know, at some point this account became well known for what it would go on to cause in the Quinton drama.
Hey everybody, before we do some Kino, I get a message from an account called Not Mumkey Jones on Twitter. It's a parody account of me. It has about 268 followers on it. And they say, hey, look at this screenshot. This guy, Quinton Reviews, just sent me a whole bunch of messages thinking I am you.
Yes, Quinton sent me these DMs, but to be fair, I did not leak them. I sent them to Mumkey after telling Quinton he'd messaged the wrong guy and asking if he wanted me to refer them to the actual account. Not that it mattered anyway, since Mumkey leaked them himself and continued to even once Quinton was messaging him instead.
Okay, you guys want to hear what he sent me as I was reading this out loud on the show? Don't kill the messenger. I'm just reading the crazy shit you're saying. He says, why? And every single word is its own message here. So you can tell he's really upset. Why in the world would you leak out private information about me being doxxed? He is, of course, saying this in a reference of me tweeting out those messages.
I don't really have much sympathy for Quinton given how he acted, so I don't mind that Mumkey did what he did, but at the same time I just want to clarify, I was not the one who leaked anything. I don't want to show the DMs I had with Quinton after the fact to prove this, as I'd not be guilty of that exact thing, but I can still prove it because there is a point during the Mumkey video where Quinton messages him saying, this guy's really pissed you leaked his DMs, referencing me.
And then 2 minutes ago he said, man, this guy is really pissed you leaked him DMs.
As I said, I sent them to Mumkey at Quinton's request. That's all. And also, while we're on the subject, despite how obnoxiously self-righteous Quinton acted during all that drama, his DMs with me afterwards were actually pretty genuine. He was a lot more redeemable in that situation than most knew, and even though I still don't feel too sorry for him, I want to take this opportunity to say that while he's extremely full of himself and ironically very intolerant of differing opinions, he's not a bad guy at all. I will say he's very hateable though, because seemingly everything about him is just obnoxious, but that doesn't make him bad. But even still, I think it's safe to say that this is a point against me. Then there's Mumkey. I already mentioned the video I made on him for the short film contest, which would go on to be my Real Truth About Mumkey Jones video, and just so all of you know, that was purposely intended to be the final Mumkey related thing I'd post, and the end to what I like to call Season 1 of the Just Jargon channel. Season 2 was that phase of doing nothing but green screen videos, and Season 3 is, well, this. But ironically, that parody video talking about the truth about Mumkey Jones came out just 4 days before the infamous Mr. Meatman video, outing Mumkey for a lot of his secret activities, and my video inadvertently caught the wave of views from the drama. Unlike it though, my video was actually well liked by Mumkey, and if it wasn't, he at least did a good job lying to me, so 1 point for me. And on the subject of Mumkey, we also have my Rise, Fall, and Decay of Das the Sauceboy video, which centered on the same Mumkey-related drama that created Jeremiahthegamer's channel.
Oh wait, what's this? I was just randomly browsing YouTube, and I came across this channel called Jeremiahthegamer 8920. And look, he even did a review of my YouTube channel. Could this be the reviewer of legend that Sauceboy has been talking about?
Oh, hi everyone.
Despite it being more than likely that Sauceboy has seen my video or at least knows about my channel, there's been radio silence on his end. But Jeremiahthegamer, however, is a far different story. During the stream, he actually reviewed my channel while on a Discord call with me where he ridiculed my backlog of content, giving me the most savage critique of my life.
After this bamboozle happened again, he tried to make another parody exposed video because he had hope in it. Somehow, he got 1.1k views. So everything after 2 months of these popular YouTubers, he included in their thumbnail that he got views from. He then tried to make original content again by leeching off of Mumkey Jones, which didn't give him any views but only got him near 1,000 views. He basically said, Mumkey Jones betrayed me in his new short film for clickbait. But then, when he didn't get the views, he didn't talk about Mumkey Jones that much anymore.
So I'm just gonna say this one's negative. Seems about right. And speaking of savage critique, I also posted a video on the man, the myth, the legend, Ellis Mark. This video, titled Ellis Mark, Just Jargon's Channel Reviews, was actually a response to another response to my original Mumkey review. Wrap your head around that. Mark made a now unlisted video accusing me of being Elliot Rodger, after I'd accused Mumkey of the same thing, to which I responded to Mark in my own video on the 4th of July, but it took me almost a whole year for me to truly declare my independence because Mark expressed to me privately that he wasn't satisfied with my initial response. So we made a deal. I'd make a second video on the matter in the next 2 months after we talked, and if I didn't, Mark would be able to release secret information on me, which is that I'm bi. Bi as in, bisexual. I don't really know why I'm bothering to explain it, but oh well, you get the point. And I even said it at the end of the Ellis Mark review, which I guess technically made it a coming out video, but apparently I was too subtle since no one seemed to notice. But now there's even bigger secrets in that field that I really don't want to get into and hopefully never will. I have to say though, all things considered, it was probably the weirdest response video ever created, and definitely the weirdest coming out video. Now even though this is Mark we're talking about, his response to this video was good. And I didn't even get any of that Jargon sounds like as a 12-year-old. I addressed everything he wanted and cleared the air, so a point in my favor then. Next is Staxolotl, my most hated enemy. Stax is a small-time commentator who I've talked about twice, with the second being just barely posted after the 1st of January 2019, and after he went on a hiatus that continues to some degree to this very day. But even so, I'll probably never live to see the day Stax responds well to one of my videos. Oh, how could I forget you? I just talked about Cool Cat a few days ago, and as expected, he didn't reply. But then again, it wasn't a video made to be replied to. Although, I'm sure some of you remember that this isn't the only video I made off of Cool Cat. I made another back in February when Derek Savage had announced an award show called the 420 Awards, and asked for volunteers to help edit. I recapped the event in my video and ended it off by offering up my services to Derek. But unfortunately, he never messaged me. Surprise, surprise. Though that didn't mean I never got a response. Beforehand, I'd asked my subscribers to go and leave a comment on his video to get his attention, and this continued when those same subscribers messaged him on Twitter as well, and one of them actually got a response from the official Cool Cat account, but it must have gotten deleted since I can't find it now. If my memory is correct, the tweet was in reply to someone asking if I could be involved with the project, saying, "We'll think about it." But based on the fact that they never replied further, and that the tweet's missing now, it's pretty safe to mark this one down as negative. Next we have ER. Ooh, this is a good one. I have been waiting forever to tell this story. For those of you who don't know, ER is a reviewer who was shouted out by PewDiePie, resulting in controversy when it was discovered that ER makes Nazi jokes. Some accused him of being a Nazi, and is he actually a Nazi? Who's to say? But you can't judge a person by their jokes, and that's exactly why I made the first video. It was me ironically going through ER's backlog, calling him names based on jokes in an attempt to look like a misguided commentary channel, and it worked flawlessly. The video got 70,000 views, and with the exception of those who weren't in my audience, nearly everyone fell for it, thinking I was being serious. But better yet, ER himself followed my Twitter account and messaged me saying he enjoyed the video. And that's when I got an idea. An awful idea. That's when I got a wonderful, awful idea. Why not make a sequel framed as an apology for the first, and get ER himself involved? In the first video, I watched and reacted sarcastically to any short video on his channel I could find, but never actually watched his reviews. So in other words, there was never a point where he was actually speaking or giving his opinions. So I asked ER to send me lines of him saying extremely far left sounding quotes so I could pretend to watch his reviews by watching those clips and have to say I was completely wrong about him. So to the audience, this would be complete insanity. They'd be watching, still thinking I'm being serious, and expecting me to double down on my fake Nazi allegations, then realize the videos I'm watching had been changed somehow, and have no idea what to make of it. And the best part is, I didn't give any lines to ER at all. He made up his own, and when I was watching those video segments on recording, I was doing so for the first time. So like the audience, I had no idea what he was about to say. And it was glorious.
Because I never wanted to be.
Keep these respective attitudes in mind for when I later decide which of them is indicative of a huge positive symbol for girls everywhere.
Huh. Wow. Wow. Wow, I didn't expect that. Wow, wow. 1 point for me. After the time spent interacting with ER to organize all this, I still am not sure what his beliefs are. But either way, he was a really nice guy and helped me out for fun when he didn't need to, so there's that. Then there's the underrated channels video from April where I shouted out 10 different YouTubers, small and large, who I felt were underrated to some degree. Of them, 6 responded to me directly, and all were positive. Those being Kniptuous, Master ETH, Firesale, JMP, Internet Unwind, and Lord Vega. All of them thanked me in some way, and in fact, the video you're watching right now is being edited by Kniptuous, so it's pretty safe to say he was happy with it too. But of all of them, I'd say the happiest one was Lord Vega, who is by far one of the most underrated channels I've ever seen, and the main reason I made the video. I'd strongly recommend checking him out, and maybe just go back and watch the underrated channels video yourself and check everyone else out too. Next, we have the channel review of Internet Historian. While being a pretty standard just jargon video and not getting many views at the time, Internet Historian himself did find it, and immediately followed me on Twitter and sent me messages expressing how much he liked what I said, which honestly caught me insanely off guard. I never considered he'd even see it, let alone respond this well. Weirdest timeline. The same can also be said for my Chadtronic video, which also got noticed somehow, but with a reaction that was, totally unsarcastic and negative. Of course, right? Totally. Then there's Dillon The Hacker, who, if you don't know, is a satire channel who became popular making ironic rants on PewDiePie, and who appeared in several of my videos in the past 2 years, including my 2-part T-Series review and my review of Better YouTube, which was basically a satirical response to a satirical video Dillon himself made about a site he made up called Better YouTube. But on a serious note, Dillon actually died last year in late July. He was 21. We weren't the closest of friends, but we DM'd back and forth quite a bit, and he was actually my very first Twitter follower. Though I do know that he always was happy with our collab projects, which means a lot coming from someone who I admired quite a bit. I really miss the guy. Next, there's The Right Opinion, who, like a lot of channels on here, I made a video specifically discussing. But many might have noticed that this one is quite different from the rest simply because of its style. If you pay attention, you'll notice this one was actually edited by other people. And in fact, I got Tro's own editors to make both it and the thumbnail for me. I don't know quite how he reacted to this, but he and I were no longer involved by that point, so I'm just gonna assume this one was negative. Oh, and yes, he and I were actually romantically involved. Kinda. Not a whole lot, but that meme of shipping us together wasn't a complete joke, which shouldn't be a surprise since I already mentioned having come out as bi, so There's also my video on Encyclopedia Dramatica, the satirical Wikipedia site on lolcows, which, if you're curious, was actually recorded a whole year prior and used as a video to fill time between more important uploads, and it had been so long since I recorded it that the video and audio quality was basically unsalvageable. Even more so since, it's one of my videos. It got a response from Easy Peasy, who's an ed admin, saying I will fight you in the comments. Now, I'm just gonna mark this one as negative, just so I have an excuse to end up with a negative score at the end of this thing, and am forced to do the punishment poll. Now, that's the last one that popped up over the past year, but actually, for the sake of being very thorough, that's not quite the end. Those are, in fact, all the people who have responded to their appearance in videos over the past year. But believe it or not, one guy actually responded who hasn't even been in a review, and the person in question being none other than Futuristic Hub. When I posted a tweet saying I may be making a video on him, he responded by cussing out one of my followers for nearly an hour. So I can only imagine what he would do if I actually made a video, however fair or unfair it may be. You know what? I think I know what should be done. I'll leave it to the punishment poll. Making a video on Futuristic Hub will be the first option, but I'm gonna ramp up the punishments from last year, so it might be a tough choice this time.
Love it. Keep doing it. Keep it up. Keep it up, bro. You're the best.